All right, welcome back, guys, to the Lions Den Sports Podcast. I'm Chase Gispert,
I'm Troy Allen.
and we're ready. It's been a little while. This is our first one back from the semester. Took a little much-needed break over the holidays, but hey, we're back now. Let's talk NFL playoffs.
Yes,
So
sir,
Chiefs,
yes, sir.
Niners, Super Bowl. But first, let's start kind of chronologically. Let's go through the wild card round first and the real headlines. The first thing I had was C.J. Stroud and the Texans have a bright future. Lighten up the number one defense in the Browns. They were aided by not one but two pick sixes by Joe Flacco.
Yep.
But still very impressive performance. Stroud was dicing the number one defense. Then we had Dolphins poor showing versus the Chiefs. Was probably my next one. Cowboys shocking loss to the Packers. Lions outlast the Rams and really a classic game. And then Bills handled your Steelers in Buffalo. And Eagles' late season collapse is official with that loss to the Bucks a couple weeks ago. But I guess what stuck out to you most?
Definitely the Packers blowing out the Cowboys. Like it was definitely that. I think that was a game that shocked everybody the most. I know you could throw up the Texans destroying the Browns, but like the Texans beating the Browns wasn't a hot take. It's just a fashion in which they won.
Right.
But like I'm pretty sure almost everyone had the Packers losing to the Cowboys. And the fact that it was 48-16, basically with like 6 minutes left before Dak started, stat padding and stuff like that. His final passing numbers look good, but like anyone who watched that game, they know that he played pretty bad. So, but like that was definitely one of the most shocking things. Because had the Cowboys beat the Packers, they would have had either the Bucks or the Eagles coming to them, and then they would have had to face San Francisco in the conference championship.
Then the Lions would have had to play San Francisco in the divisional instead of the championship game.
Exactly. So, they had by far the easiest path to get to the NFC title game, and they just completely squandered. I don't know what happened. But yeah, they completely squandered away, and it surprised me that they brought back Mike McCarthy because I thought it was official, like we're gonna move on. But that game really stuck out to me.
Shoot, I'd have to go back and look at the exact records. I want to say, have they been 11-5 2 years in a row now?
No, it's been 12-5 for 3 straight seasons.
Oh, 3 straight seasons.
Yeah, 12-5, right. 3 straight seasons.
Yeah, 12-5. Okay, that's what it is. So, really, they've been tremendous in the regular season. They had, the number one offense in the league this year. Dak and CD were lighting the world on fire.
Led the league in scoring, too.
Yeah. I think, weren't they unbeaten at home?
Yes,
the entire year? This was their first home loss in, since, one of the first games of the last season, in 2022.
Week 1 versus the Bucks. There we go.
Yeah, I think, you're right. So, AT&T Stadium was like a fortress, if you will, for Dallas, but I don't know what to say either. On paper, the Packers have, I think, the absolute youngest roster in the entire NFL. Jordan Love, inexperienced quarterback. All their receivers are young, like first and second year guys, and they just absolutely shredded the Cowboys defense that was one of the best in the league during the regular season. They got Dan Quinn. He's supposed to be a highly thought of DC. I don't know. I watched the game. People were just open. Jordan Love was making plays, but absolutely pitiful showing from the Cowboys. They had legit Super Bowl aspirations.
Couldn't stop the play action.
Right, and you getting a 27. Yeah, and they were getting run on too. They couldn't stop the run or the pass. You go down 27-0 late first half. It was crazy. With the pick six, made it 27-0 on Dak, and then they were just playing catch up from there. Like you said, Dak's final stats looked pretty good, but most of that was when the game was already well out of hand.
Yep.
And the Packers were kind of playing softer coverage, if you will. But that was shocking. But hey, Packers, on the flip side, they look like they got a bright future. Jordan Love looks like the truth.
Yep.
And then moving on, Texans blew out the Browns. They're another young team on the rise with a young quarterback in C.J. Stroud. Joe Flacco's magic ran out, 2 pick sixes. Got blown out.
That's a Joe I know.
Said as a Steelers fan.
Yep.
But Also, the Dolphins, I was disappointed. I thought the Chiefs would win. I wasn't surprised they lost, but 26-7. I understand it was cold weather. They like to air it out, so I'm sure that had an effect. Did Jalen Waddle even play?
Hold on.
I want to say I know he was questionable. He definitely wasn't 100%. Okay, he did play. He had 2 catches for 31 yards, but still, I thought the Dolphins was kind of disappointing because we were talking about them mid-season, like legit Super Bowl quality team. They're so explosive on offense, but as the weather got colder and really, I think the only team they beat with a winning record all year was the Cowboys.
Yeah, exactly.
They just did not step up to the plate when they played good competition.
Yeah. Tua is a September merchant, man.
Yeah,
he's good. He's good in September.
To say it, but yeah,
but don't ask him to show up for them late.
Right.
December.
At the very least, I think it's very evident that if they want to make a postseason run with what they have to get a high seed to play in that. Even in December and January, it's still not obviously not even close to being as cold as some other places in Miami. So we'll see about that. But yeah, disappointment for the Dolphins, Cowboys for sure. Lions-Rams was a really good game, 24-23. I think Rams had a surprise year. They really weren't. I didn't expect them to do much. Puka Nacua was kind of the spark plug for them. Yeah. Insane rookie season.
And to show how long this NFL season really been, I think the Rams were like 3 games below 500, and Matthew Stafford was coming off an injury, and prior to his return back from injury. His stats were like all career lows through like 6 or 7 games, and then they just turned it on and stuff like that. Kyron Williams really popped out. Obviously, Puka, he was the one consistent factor the whole season. So they turned it on, and they were, I think they were the top rated offense, or at least up there with the Cowboys the last 5 games of the season. So people thought, this high flying offense up against a weak secondary, this could be a one and done year type thing for the Lions, but no, it wasn't. The Lions, they got out to an early lead, didn't do too much in the second half, but they still defended home turf, and that's all you can really ask for in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Rams. You're right. When Stafford was out, they were 3-6.
Yep.
Oh, that's over halfway because there's 17 games, and that's 9 games through. I mean, probably everyone thought they're out of the playoffs. They win 7 of their last 8 games. Their only loss was to the Ravens in overtime in Baltimore.
I remember that game.
Yep. So they finished the season outstanding. I think Sean McVay and Stafford proved that they're still a very one of the best QB coach combos in the league. So yeah, good for the Rams. They came up a point short, but upstart Lions, got the job done, beat the Rams, and then Steelers. I think that was probably the least or the most expected.
Yeah.
Just the Bills were too much. I mean, Mason Rudolph, no disrespect to him, but I mean, you tried him at that Terry quarterback. I don't think you're really expecting to win a road playoff game against Josh Allen and company. Eagles though were just terrible. I wasn't surprised they lost. I did think the Bucs would win, but they were favored for what it's worth. In 32-9, Jalen Hurts had an atrocious game. Their late season collapse is unreal. They were 10-1, best record in the league. They finished 11-6, so they lost 5 of their last 6 games.
6 of their last 7.
The playoff loss, 6 of their last 7 they lost. Yeah. Not sure. I know there's a lot of rumors of Sirianni losing the locker room. I'm pretty sure they fired both coordinators. They're OC and DC. So it looks like they're going to have to rebuild from a coaching standpoint, maybe a player standpoint too. Their defense was pretty poor awful, especially in the secondary. And then they're supposed to have such an elite front that we saw last year. They weren't up to par either.
Yeah, and part of that is due to scheme too.
Yeah,
like I saw a couple of videos of people highlighting this. They had Hassan Reddick dropping back in coverage.
Yeah,
Hassan Reddick, who is a pass rusher known for getting to the quarterback.
He had well over 10 sacks last year.
Yeah, exactly. And he was regarded as one of the best, pass rushers in the league. And this season they had him dropping back in coverage, which just awful. As a matter of fact, I saw a stat. The Eagles are the only team in NFL history to start a season 10-1 and end with less than 12 wins.
Jeez. Yeah, that is crazy.
Yep.
I mean, I thought they were Super Bowl bound again, maybe going to win it. They were definitely the favorites. Now, people have pointed out they were kind of squeaking by, like winning a bunch of one-possession games.
Yep.
But, I mean, it's the NFL. I think a sign of a good team is pulling out games like that. But, man, they just hit a wall and just fell apart. I think it's more than anything, it shows how important coordinators are. Because they lost off their Super Bowl team from last year. They lost their offensive coordinator, Frank Wright. If I'm saying his name right.
No.
That's the that was the old Panthers.
Shane
coach.
Steichen.
Shane Steichen, yeah, you're right. Thanks for correcting me. He head coach of the Colts, who had a pretty solid year. They were in the playoff hunt until the very end, just missed out.
I would have made it with AR.
Right, exactly. I forgot he got hurt like week 2 or 3. So that was a huge loss. The offense looked like a shell of itself with the same personnel. Hurts took a big step back this year. And then defensively, I believe their defense coordinator, something Gannon.
John Gannon.
John Gannon. He was the Cardinals head coach. And, both units took major steps back. It'll be interesting to see with Philly. They're kind of in some turmoil. And it's like Hurts and all of them have to kind of prove themselves again. We'll see. But then moving on to the divisional round, that was 2 weeks ago. Ravens blew out the Texans. Really no surprise. Defense smothered Stroud.
Yeah.
He's a great young player, but just Ravens a little too much for the rookie. 49ers Packers was one of the best games. 24-21. Packers had a shot. Jordan Love threw a really bad interception across his body. Kind of reminded me of Brett Favre a little bit against the Saints.
Yeah. I saw that side-by video.
In the NFC Championship way back when. But Green Bay, though, very overachieved for sure. I did not think they'd make the playoffs. They did. Shocked the Cowboys, just embarrassed them in Dallas, where they hadn't lost in over a year, and then took the 49ers to the brink, who are now in the Super Bowl. So Packers got a bright future. Looks like they found yet another gem at quarterback in Jordan Love, but Niners get it done. The Lions, too much for the Bucks, 31-23, but I like to give credit to Baker Mayfield. He had a pretty solid season, kind of got himself back to being a respected QB in the league because he was kind of being cast aside as just a bust and just not what he was thought out to be when he was picked.
Yeah, 4K yards and 28 touchdowns.
Yeah.
The only current starting QB to win 2 playoff games with two different teams, I think, and I think versus the Eagles, and that surprised me the most. He's the only Bucks QB in their history to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. I was like,
wait,
what? Yeah, I was like, Brady ain't do that?
In a playoff game?
Yeah.
Okay. That's crazy.
In a playoff game, I'm like, Brady ain't do that?
That's wild.
Because I thought for sure Brady had 303 touchdowns versus the Packers.
Yeah.
In a title game a couple of years ago, but no, Baker Mayfield, the only QB in Bucks playoff history to have 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
Shout out to Baker Mayfield, man. Bounce back season. I can finally root for him now that he's out of that orange and brown. So, I hope he continues to have success, man.
Then if it wasn't Green Bay and San Francisco, this would have been, or arguably still was, game of the divisional round. Chiefs at the Bills. I think we all wanted the Bills to win. Tired of seeing the Chiefs win. And Bills are kind of easy to pull forward. Never won a Super Bowl. Kind of always seem to underachieve here lately. Josh Allen. They got a great roster, always in the playoffs, but yet another heartbreaker to the Chiefs.
Yep.
At home, to me, what stuck out the most was Stephon Diggs, and not for a good reason. He dropped a deep ball that would have set them up, I think, in the red zone or around the Chiefs' 20. He dropped it, and then Bills weren't able to move the ball. And I believe, did they turn it over on downs, or did they? I think they may have punted, and the Chiefs ran the clock out.
Let's not forget.
Oh no, I'm sorry. They missed the field goal. That's what it was. Yeah. It was that drive. They missed a 44-yarder, which you do expect your kicker to make.
Wide right, part 2.
Well, exactly. Wide right. Two really gruesome words to hear if you're a Bills fan. But so that was earlier in the drive. If you get it at the 20. The guy I think he fell down. You could argue that he could have caught it and ran in the end zone for the go-ahead touchdown. At the very least, there would have been set up in the red zone and knocking on the door could have won the game. But just his disappearance in the second half of the season was really puzzling. Joe Brady just got hired officially. He took over as interim about mid-season, and kind of ironically, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but basically Diggs had good numbers with the old OC, but the complaint was it's been for the last few years they don't run the ball enough. They just rely on Josh Allen in that aspect. So Brady comes in, he says, okay, we're going to run the ball. James Cook explodes, the running back, in the second half of the year. And the passing game, they were still, I mean, they weren't like pedestrian by any means. They were more well-balanced, but they kind of turned into more of a run-first team. And
yeah, exactly.
Diggs' numbers just plummeted. And it's kind of weird. You'd like, well, a wide receiver one, how are they winning? Because they started, was their winning formula second half of the year. Run the ball, play good defense. Yep. And I don't know. It's kind of interesting. He's getting up there, though. I believe his contract's, is he a free agent? Or maybe it's the following year. I don't know. Yeah. That's going to be interesting, though, because I know it seems like every offseason there's drama. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the guy.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's a little bit of a drama queen, I guess, if you will. But I don't know. I mean, I don't want to judge him too hard.
I think he signed through 2027.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
but
so.
Still, I mean, I think he's 30 or pretty close to it.
Yeah. And let's not
he's
forget.
He's still, I don't know, though. That's kind of the question. Is he still a great receiver? He's still got 1,000 yards, I think, but most of that was in the first half. Just an awful second half of the season.
Pretty awful. And let's not forget his first catch of that game, he caught it and fumbled.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Luckily, it went out of bounds, right?
Yeah,
or someone knocked it out.
Yeah, because of Dalton
Kincaid. Or Kincaid the other time.
Yeah. So, just terrible performance by him. And then moving on to the both title games, obviously Chiefs and Ravens, and then we have Lions and Niners. I do want to start with the Lions and Niners. Now I picked the Niners to win this ball game, but like once I was watching the game, and like once I saw the Lions jump out to that early lead, I was like, okay, I'm rooting for the Lions. You know what I'm saying? Cause
right,
like,
me too.
Because like one, it would be funny because this would have been Kyle Shanahan's like third straight year failing in the title game or something close to it. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I started rooting for the Lions, and then everything that went wrong. You know, the failed fourth down conversions, two of them, a drop pass by Reynolds, a Gibbs fumble,
and then Reynolds dropped another one on another drive.
Exactly.
He single-handedly killed 2 drives for the Lions.
He really did.
It was crazy. I mean, they jumped out 24-7. I'm thinking they got it in the bag. How cool is this going to be? The Lions in the Super Bowl. Yeah. Never been in the Super Bowl era. I think I looked it up. I think they won like 4. It wasn't even called the Super Bowl. It was like just the NFL championship or whatever, like in the 50s, and maybe the last one was at 60-something. But in the modern Super Bowl era, I believe it's since like 67, the present day, they have never even appeared in one. Arguably been one of the worst franchise in the league for years now. I mean, such a great story. I know Dan Campbell, really fiery, likable guy. He's really rejuvenized the organization, and he's done a great job. He deserves all the credit in the world, but I do think, I know, I hear the argument that people are like, oh, well, that's his aggressive nature. That's what got them there.
Yeah.
I could kind of see that, but I feel like in the playoffs, it's not like you're just going away from your identity. Like, you just have to go for it on every fourth down. Like, 4th and 2 in your opponent's territory, Niners have one of the best defenses in the league. If he would have kicked that field goal, they would have went up by 3 scores. Instead, he misses, and football is such a momentum thing. I'm not saying it's directly why this happened, but it's kind of funny. It's like one thing goes wrong, and then it just kind of snowballs on you.
Yep.
After that happened, Niners get a huge lift, obviously. 4th down stop. Defense is probably favorite thing besides the goal line stand, which is essentially the same thing on 4th down.
And let's not forget, Brandon Ayuk had one of the luckiest catches
That's
in
what I was
modern
gonna say.
NFL history.
Yeah, a couple plays later, literally a drop pick off the face mask of the Lions safety. He dives and catches it at the one. They score a few plays later.
If you were to replay that exact play 10 more times, it's an interception or like an incomplete pass. Very, you know what I'm saying?
So that got him right back in the game. Just that momentum shift there, and then I get Reynolds dropped the pass. He should have caught it. If he catches that, they probably win the game.
Yeah.
Gibbs had a costly fumble, and then Reynolds dropped a third down when they had the punt, I think late in the third or early fourth quarter. So I get it, but the one to me, I still think he should have kicked to go up by 3 scores. I could see it, though, 4th and 2, but the one to me that was just kind of stupid was 4th and 3, you have a field goal, you're down 27-24.
Yeah.
I think 31 of the other 32 NFL coaches would have kicked the field goal there to tie the game. He's being aggressive. He thinks he can make it 4th and 3. I mean, it's definitely manageable. But he took a risk, and Goff rolled out. No one was open. It was really a poor play. He just kind of threw it in the dirt. Amon-Ra couldn't get to it. And then it's just too big of a risk for me because – yes, if you make it, you put the pressure on them. You're thinking you could go down and score and take the lead. But if you don't get it, then you're not even tied, and then you're calling on your defense to get another stop. It just is kind of a huge dampener, like just momentum killer.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what happened. The Niners took over and went down the field, went up by 10, and the game was over. Yep. They went down and scored the Lions and cut it to 3, but then they had to get an onside kick. You could argue, well, if you just would have kicked the field goal, they would be in overtime. Yeah.
Yep.
So he definitely deserves some criticism. I get he got him there, but definitely some questionable decision making. He also forced himself to burn a timeout by running the ball at the 1-yard line when they were down by 10 on the goal line late with like a minute to play. If he wouldn't have done that, I believe they could have. They forced the Lions. They stopped them, but the Niners just kneeled on 4th down. And with like literally 2 seconds left or something, if he would have had that last time out in his pocket, they could have got the ball back with like, I don't know, I guess like 30 seconds, something like that.
Yep.
And would have at least had somewhat of a chance. But, yeah, overall great season for the Lions. But, yeah, absolute heartbreaker. I mean, anytime you blow a 24, you're 30 minutes of football away from going to the Super Bowl up 24-7 and you lose. That's a gut punch.
Yeah.
But Niners, like you said, this is their fourth straight year in the NFC Championship. They lost the last 2. They break through this year.
Yeah.
And then.
Oh yeah, I saw one more stat. This was tweeted at halftime. It said teams in a title game that are up 21. Excuse me, that are up 17 or more points are 21-0 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
21-1.
That is terrible.
Yep. But speaking of questionable decision making, how about the Ravens all-time fumble? Quite literally because of Zay Flowers, but Gus Edwards and Justice Hill, they combined for 6 rushes the entire game. Now Lamar, he had 8 carries, but I'm pretty sure I think half of those were just scramble drills.
Right.
The Ravens, they led the league in total yards and total rushing yards. They led the league in rushing yards per game, and they led the league in rushing yards and rushing attempts. So they lead the league in basically every single major rushing stat. And then come time for the Chiefs, you drop back Lamar 37 times, and you only rush the ball a total of 16 times. Half of those are just QB scrambles, and then your running backs only touch the ball a combined 6 times.
Yeah.
I don't know what Todd Moykin was doing up in that booth. I don't know why they decided to go with that play calling route, but I think that's what lost him the game. Honestly,
I do too. Yeah, I think it's Todd Monken. He was at I know he's at Georgia. He was their OC for their national championship team. So he was highly regarded. I mean, they had a really good year. So
yeah, he did.
You could say, I mean, he called a really good regular season and then the divisional round. But yeah, I completely agree with you, Troy. Like we said, 16 rushes, 8 of those were Lamar. So half of them were your quarterback, and at least a handful of those, maybe half or more, as you said, were just him scrambling when it was a called pass. So 16 rushes to 37 pass attempts, and you're the number one rushing offense. And to me, you could argue, oh, they were down 17-7. Well, their defense is number one in the league. The game honestly kind of played almost into their hands, the game script, if you will, like run the ball, play great defense.
The play calling from KC in the second half was like not good.
Yeah.
Like Andy Reid in his second half, you can tell he was playing for the clock rather than playing for the game, cause it was super conservative.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was one drive. It was like a 3rd and 15, gotta have it, and the Chiefs call a fake wide receiver screen. I'm like, I'm like, they got super conservative, and so so like they could have ran the ball. And another stat I saw this morning. The Ravens ran the ball 31 times 2 weeks ago versus the Texans. The Texans, I think they have one of the best rushing defenses in the whole league.
Better than the Chiefs.
Yeah,
statistically at least.
Yeah, the Chiefs had the 28th ranked rushing defense, and yet you only run the ball 16 times.
Right.
That's something I just don't understand.
Exactly, I agree. And to your point, a week ago, the Bills, yes, the Chiefs do have one of the best defenses in the league, but their pass defense is what makes them so elite. They got really good coverage and corners.
And they can blitz too.
Right, and I know Spagnuolo's arguably the best DC in the league, but I think Monken severely outthought himself. He completely abandoned his identity and what got them to being arguably the best team probably during the regular season all year. And not to mention the week before, the Bills took the Chiefs to the brink. You could argue should have beat them, kind of blew the game, and they did that by running the ball.
Exactly.
They had, let's see, well over or almost 200. They had 182 yards rushing on the Chiefs on 39 attempts, averaged almost 5 yards a clip, 4.7 yards per carry. That's very good. Yeah. So you would think, well, that plays right into the Ravens' wheelhouse. No, they just abandoned the run. You're down 17-7 at the half. A 10-point lead with 30 minutes of football left to play and the number one defense on your team is far. It's not even close to being insurmountable by any means. So no idea why they abandoned the game plan. Got way too pass happy. Also, I thought like you said, a lot of those runs were just Lamar scrambling when it was a called pass. I thought they didn't have enough design runs for him either.
No, not at all.
I mean, he's your best runner, your best player. So, very puzzling. I mean, you lose 17-10. Number one defense holds Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid offense to 17 points, and you lose the game. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yep. I've seen some people say, I think because Lamar got so caught up with wanting to change the narrative that he is like an elite passer, that they kind of outthought themselves or something like that. So I think that could have played a factor into it, and then obviously the 3 turnovers, not good. Lamar fumbled. I think that was in the second quarter. I think he fumbled a strip sack.
Yeah, he did.
And then obviously the 2 fourth quarter turnovers.
Were killer,
the first one being Zay Flowers diving for the end zone.
I hate when people do that, man.
Sneed, because I think if Zay scores on that play, I think we're looking at a different outcome.
Oh, completely.
So Snead coming in, clutch fumble, clutch punch out, and how about Karma almost hitting him immediately because he got a taunting call, literally the play before or 2 plays before.
It may have been the next play. I don't remember, but it was pretty much right after.
Yeah, and then this was with 6 minutes left in the game. They're still down by 10. Ravens are driving and Lamar throws a pick into triple coverage.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Poor play.
Yeah, I think because upon replay, I'm not gonna lie. It did look like pass interference. So I think that's what they were trying to draw.
Yeah.
But like you can't rely on that in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Because like that's still a bad decision to make. In my opinion.
Yeah, he completely tried to force it to Likely. He was, like you said, literally double covered. in the end zone, and triple covered actually. Yeah, there's 2 people on him in the end zone, and then the third guy the safety ran over and intercepted it.
Yeah, exactly.
So triple coverage, poor decision. But yeah, absolutely, because when that fumble happened at the 1, Flowers, I hate when people do that. I understand your eyes get huge, you see the end zone, you want to dive in. But,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you just go down, you got 1st and goal at the 1. You literally have 4 plays to punch it in to get 1 yard.
Someone said Zay could have just lowered his shoulder and like his momentum from the hit probably would have carried him in the end zone anyway.
Just completely unnecessary.
Yep.
He's a really good rookie player, but I guess you could say rookie mistake there.
Yep,
but yeah, overall, that was tough for sure because they had enough time. It was like halfway through the 4th. They would have scored there, made it 17-14. They got to stop. Now, you could argue, well, the Chiefs wouldn't have been as conservative with their play call and maybe they move it more, but we'll never know. But overall, I'd put most of the blame on Todd Monken for the game
100%.
plan, not running the ball. I mean, the Chiefs only scored 17. He was calling the game like they're down like 3 possessions or something. They're only down 10 with the number 1 defense on their team and the best rushing quarterback of all time, outside of Michael Vick. You could argue Lamar's the greatest rushing quarterback ever, and really failed to utilize him or the running back. 6 combined attempts, as you said, from Edwards and Hill, who are a nice 1-2 punch. I mean, just poor all around.
They signed Dalvin Cook right before their postseason too, so you had that as well.
Right, and also, I mean, forget that their whole identity is running the ball. Obviously, that's what got them to a 13-4 record in the first place. But also, like, if you just look at their personnel, their design, the run, they have a really good offensive line, stud Lamar Jackson, and 2 solid running backs. I know Flowers is solid. Mark Andrews was not 100%. I know he played, but I mean, it's not like they have some great pass catchers. You have I love Odell Beckham, but I don't want to call him washed, but I mean, he's
a role player.
He's a shell of what he used to be. You have Zay Flowers, who's good, but he's really like a 2 to me, number 2 receiver, I'd say. Odell Beckham, and then Nelson Aguilar, and you're dropping back trying to tell them to go beat the best pass defense in the league instead of running the ball, which you're already better at. And the Chiefs are worse at defending, which made no sense. But hey, hats off to the Chiefs. I think I wrote in here. I mean, it's really a dynasty at this point. If you go 3, 4, 5. I think they've made the Super Bowl now in 4 of the past 5 seasons.
Yeah.
They've won 2. They're going for 3. Their record, if you look at it, I think it's like 77-22 since 2019, which is astounding. It's actually, I think, a couple games better than the Patriots' best run from 14 to 18 with Belichick and Brady. I mean, it's pretty impressive. I'll be honest. I usually like to pull for the underdog. I'm kind of tired of seeing them, but you got to give credit where credit's due. I mean, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Kelsey have done a tremendous job. One thing that people don't realize, too, I think that's crazy is we were talking about it earlier in the year, like, man, they missed Tyreek Hill. They're kind of struggling right now. It's like just when the playoffs come around, it's like it doesn't matter. I just don't understand how you lose a premier receiver like that, and they won the Super Bowl and now are playing for it again without him. It's crazy, but
that'd be crazy if they go back to back without Tyreek.
Yeah, I know.
That would be so.
He was
crazy.
the problem.
Oh man, that's tough.
Yeah, I know.
That will put my wide receiver should be MVP stuff to bed.
Yeah, it probably would.
Oh Lord.
But does Mahomes deserve GOAT shouts if he wins? This would be
his third
Super Bowl.
His third before 30.
Yeah, I think he definitely deserves it. The only person that you could say still is above him is Brady to me, just because he has, is it 6 or 7? 7 rings, I think.
Yeah, Brady has 7, and like, obviously, this is obviously a huge if, but like if Mahomes beats the Niners, right? That will be 4 straight games in which the Chiefs beat very good teams: the Dolphins, Bills, Ravens, and now Niners.
That's a great point.
Especially these last 2, especially with the Ravens and Niners, the top 2 teams in the entire league.
Right.
He goes out and beats them. I think the only thing left for Mahomes to do at this point would just be do it for like another 10 years.
Right.
Because Brady played for 24 seasons.
Just do it for another 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Brady played for 24 years, racked
That's
up all
crazy.
these stats and accolades and everything like not only did he play for 24 years, but like he was elite for at least 21 out of those 24 years.
All right.
So and that's what, and like obviously the stats and the Super Bowls is nice and stuff like that, but like that's what really separates Brady from everybody else. Cause he was able to be so great for so long.
Longevity.
So
like LeBron, I think he's very comparable.
Exactly.
I agree with that. I think he's definitely the best of this generation.
Oh yeah, 100%.
For sure. Mahomes. I mean, yeah, he deserves all the credit in the world. I mean, just you don't really kind of run out of words for what he's been able to do. And I didn't even think that. I'm glad you brought that up. You could argue like this is one of the greatest, if they wind up winning, one of the greatest runs of all time. Like they played like tough. Not everyone in the playoffs is a tough opponent, but like just I mean, you play Tua and Tyreek Hill and the high flying Dolphins. One of the best offenses in the league. That's not an easy draw for the first round. Beat them handily. Then you go to Buffalo, who is arguably the hottest team in the league down the stretch. Beat them in Buffalo, which is not an easy place to play at all, especially during the winter. It's cold. And then you go on the road against the Ravens, who were really the best team in the league during the regular season, and you shut down Lamar Jackson and do enough to win, and now you're playing the Niners. So, I mean, yeah definitely. I also have CMC cementing his legacy. That'd be cool for him to get a ring.
Oh, you 100%.
I feel. I think he's. I mean, he gets his flowers for sure, but I think it's like the Niners have so many weapons, but to me, he's like clearly the alpha of the offense.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, I mean, definitely we got legacies on the line, and then Brock Purdy too. Let's give him a little shout, Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, I know he does have a stacked team, but hey, he's still making plays, and he deserves credit. He made some plays against the Lions in that comeback win. I just think it's crazy. You basically have the chosen one, Patrick Mahomes, best player in the league. Already being considered the GOAT, not even 30 years old yet, and then you got Mr. Irrelevant playing in the Super Bowl. It's crazy.
Exactly.
But I think the early line, it's the Niners are a 2-point fave.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I probably would stay away from that game. I don't know. It is the Super Bowl, but man, I would be hard pressed to bet against Mahomes.
Yeah, I would be too.
I don't want to dog Purdy, but I mean, come on, Mahomes or Purdy.
Yes, Mahomes.
I don't know.
You see, the Niners, they can't get behind early in this game because like versus the Packers, they got behind early, but like you said earlier, they were the youngest team in the entire league, and so they were able to come back, right? And then a couple of days ago versus the Lions, they got down early, but the Lions outside of Goff, that's a young team.
Right.
First time head coach being there.
Very inexperienced.
Yeah, exactly. So they were able to come back in this game. Now you're going against a veteran Chiefs team. Patrick Mahomes, he not only has he improved since that debacle versus the Bengals, but like he is now a veteran. Andy Reid is a veteran. Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, all those dudes are veterans. If they get up 10 plus points, they're not, the likelihood of them blowing that lead is slim to none. Especially if it's late fourth quarter, up 2 possessions.
Right.
You're not going to run off, 2 straight touchdown drives to take the lead. You know what I'm saying? So they can't get behind early.
Right.
And I would lean on that run game. Like we said, the 28th ranked run defense for the Chiefs. I would lean on that run game and do heavy play action pass. And that's what I would do, cause the Chiefs, they have we're gonna see 2 Sundays from now, but like as far as I'm concerned, they don't really have an answer for Chris McCaffrey.
Right.
So if they could run the ball and like stay in the game, I think they can win.
It's interesting. The more now that you say that, if I had to choose, I think I will pick the Niners. I'll do that in extreme caution because I mean you're going against or picking against Mahomes and the Chiefs, obviously Kelce, Andy Reid. The only thing I would say, I think that's the X factor. It'll be if the Chiefs can stop the run. If they can enough, I think they'll win the game. Yep. But if they can't and the Niners are able to keep Mahomes on the sideline and control the clock and time of possession with McCaffrey, I think that the Niners will win. I mean, they have so many weapons too. If they can get that run game established, then you could throw in wrinkles with the little end arounds with Debo Samuel. Could get in trouble. But yeah, I agree with you, Troy, because the Chiefs have an elite secondary. I don't trust Brock Purdy playing from behind going against that secondary. I know they have weapons. They have Ayuk, Debo, and Kittle, but no, the Chiefs have not given up 30 points all year. The most points they've given up is 27, which is very impressive.
Not to mention the Chiefs have the best second half defense.
Yes.
Nick Wright pointed this out, and he's been keeping track. The Chiefs, I think they've allowed single digits in the second half since the midseason.
Yeah.
So they had the best passing defense, obviously, the best second half defense. And so, if the Niners want to win this game, they can't fall behind early.
Right.
And you're looking at giving Chris McCaffrey like 25, nearly like 30 carries. I think I'm not trying to hurt him or anything like that. But yeah, that's what they gotta do.
I agree. That's a great point. Yeah, just it doesn't seem like the winning formula, at least on paper for the Niners, is to play from behind at all. Obviously, every team wants to start fast, but against when you got Patrick Mahomes on the other side and an elite pass defense in the Chiefs, definitely do not want to fall behind. And also to go even further to your point, the Chiefs. I saw a stat on SportsCenter the other day. They have given up in their 3 playoff wins. This year, they have given up 3 fourth quarter points combined. Gave up crazy. 0 to Miami, 0 to Buffalo, and 3 to the Ravens on Sunday. So pretty.
It's gonna be a tall task.
It should, at the very least, I think. I know people are a little kind of have Chiefs fatigue, maybe Taylor Swift fatigue too. Yeah. Niners have kind of been knocking on the door a few years now. I'm gonna say they break through and bust it down, but it should be a great game regardless of who wins. I expect it to go down to the wire.
I don't think it's gonna be a shootout.
Like a 24-21 type of game.
Yeah. I'm leading 20-17 type game. I'm not gonna bet against Mahomes. I'm going with Mahomes. I know I just kind of laid the blueprint, but yeah, I'm a roll with Mahomes, man, to get his second straight Super Bowl win.
Yeah, that would be something. Without Tyreek Hill, one of the best receivers of this generation, I think it's safe to say the stats he's put up, how explosive he is. Losing him and then just winning it back-to-back years, that would be something.
Classic Tom Brady style, man. Game-winning field goal with no time remaining from a butt hurt. That's how Brady won his first 3.
True.
So it'll be fitting for Mahomes to do that to do it.
I'm gonna say the Niners have success with the run game. They control the clock enough. I do think Mahomes is so elite that he's gonna work his magic. I'm going to say the Chiefs actually take a lead 21-17, and then I'm going to say Brock Purdy has a legacy drive down the field. And
I like it.
It hits George Kittle for the game-winning touchdown.
Yep.
24-20, but either way, it should be a great game.
The catch part 2, huh?
Yeah, the catch part 2.
Watch it would play out like that. Oh, Purdy's actually throwing the ball out of bounds, and Kittle's like, oh, this is for me.
Just jumps up and catches it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it should be a great game. It really has been an entertaining playoff series. Almost every game has been like competitive and close.
Yeah. I know we had a couple of blowouts, but I'm not gonna lie. Watching the Packers blow out the Cowboys, that was the most fun. Yeah, that was the most fun I had watching a blowout since the Broncos got destroyed by the Seahawks 10 years ago now.
Damn, that's right. 10 years ago. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, every round, especially from the divisional round, besides the Ravens-Texans, the Packers-Niners, Chiefs-Bills, both instant classics. Lions-Bucks was good, and then Conference Championship were both one-possession games. So, yeah, we've been spoiled. It's been a really good playoffs. Hopefully the Super Bowl's the best game of all. I think it'll be a great game, like we said, regardless of who wins. 2 elite teams.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that about does it, unless you got anything else to add. Yeah, I think that pretty much does it for the NFL. Let us know what y'all want to hear us discuss next. We'll be talking about Southeastern sports as the spring kind of progresses on. We're in the middle of basketball season.
Baseball coming up in 2 weeks.
Softball coming up. Tennis is playing. We got beach volleyball around the corner. A lot of stuff, golf as well. So stay tuned to the Lions Roar. Check out our articles and more of our podcasts. But yeah, for Chase Gispert
and Troy Allen,
this is the Lions Den Sports Podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.